Okay, we're live. Oh, I think I'll turn this off.
All right. Live at 5 from the west side.
Live at
You know?
5. Hey, there you go. That's a good one. I like that
Yeah,
one.
live at 5 from the west side.
So we might have to be using that one. That was good.
Hey, let's roll with it.
I
Let's roll with it,
I feel like a bad guy when you say west side though. It's like a gang member.
Yeah. Back here for another great show.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Ready.
Let's see if we got anybody. No one in the chat yet.
No, that's all right.
So
I'll just listen to our recording anyway.
So I had some. You had some.
I had some fun this week.
You had some fun this weekend, huh?
Just Wednesday. Stayed Thursday night and came back Friday morning.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. You gonna post any videos on that?
Well, I'm going to, but I'm still I'm still kind of upset about my drone getting
Smacked up.
Yeah, because I wrecked it because I was driving it, flying it toward me, and I was going under a branch to come down to land it because I went forward instead of back. Oh man, it hit that thing and it was like whoa, pow, right on the.
That's one thing about those drones, man.
Gosh,
you better know what direction that stick is in because it's gonna make that frickin' that reaction really quick.
Yeah. Hello, Squatchaholic, Mike. Yeah.
We got Squatchaholic. We got Fletch Explorers, Into the Vale, Mike Kirkpatrick. Glad you all can make it.
Great,
hold on here,
up, right?
My guest has sent me an email, so let me check it out real quick.
Rachel's is coming up pretty soon. She's gonna be on here
next. Yeah.
Hey,
get my paper.
Now that you got your cable for your computer, you can actually up your video quality now.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could if I knew how to use the editing program that's on the computer. I mean, I need someone to sit down with me and tell me, how to do stuff. You know what I mean? And I ain't got that person, so
I know it
took me 3 days to figure out how to transfer the videos and photos from my phone to the computer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably a 15-minute job for someone. Took me 3 days.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. Nice that you made
it.
There he is.
Your email went into my my spam bucket. Had to dig it out. Then,
if that's what you think of us, Max, then
not at
all. Just kidding.
I'm damn glad to be here.
Good. Dude, I am super excited to have you because I've followed you for a very long time. I followed you back when all I had was my Northern Idaho channel.
I was following you then.
Yeah, you were following me. And then I got the wise idea of checking my local mountains and turned out to start a whole new channel, and which is what led up to the SoCal. And it's great to have you here. So everybody, the one and the only, the amazing Max Powers, Bigfoot hunter.
That's a big introduction.
Hey, I give respect where it's due. You know what I mean?
I've got a camera here and a screen here, so I keep
right.
Forth.
Right. No worries. We know how it is. So, well, everybody, Max Powers is our guest tonight. An amazing man. He's been doing this for how long now?
47 years.
There you go,
Good
people.
night.
There you go, people.
Way too young to say that number,
Yeah.
but yeah.
There you go, people. A lot of years under his belt. So you got you got quite the rig there with that Land Rover.
You know what? Yeah, it's a good setup.
It looks
I've
like
got
a good setup.
Kitchen in the back. I've got the waiting for a shower to come in. That'll be awesome. So
You get to shower when you're out for a couple months.
well, I'm usually out there for weeks at a time.
Yeah,
so.
it's scary. Yeah, you're like, "Ooh, I'm pretty ripe."
Yeah. 47 years you've been into this topic. That is absolutely incredible.
Well,
I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there that can say that.
No.
I didn't know I was into it for the first, probably 10.
Yeah. Then it's like moment of clarity. Hey, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Wow. So what got you interested in this topic?
So, wow.
This is a question we ask everybody.
Yeah.
Because the diversity of it is absolutely incredible. Some people are just curiosity. Some people are experiences. Some people saw the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek. So you get a wide spectrum. You know what I mean? And it shows how the smallest little thing can influence someone's whole future.
So I grew up down on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. It's basically an island. It's a my cord's in the way here. What am I going to do about that? It's basically an island. It's a man-made island. We shouldn't have them here. My family had a vacation place up north. And when we were up there, I had what my family called an imaginary friend. And I would talk to them out the window at night, and they'd come in the room and put me back in bed and hear my voice, and they'd come back in the room and see me talking out the window to who knows what, just my imaginary friend. And that was all well and good until my imaginary friend started leaving me gifts. And even then, my dad just thought, oh, that's nothing. They used to be shiny rocks from the river and things like that. And he thought that I would put them up there as, during the day. And then it started leaving me things like mice and voles and moles wrapped up in leaves. Leaves and grass. And when that happens, the adults who think, oh, isn't that cute, are now going, what the heck is this thing? What is he talking to out the window?
Right. That's when the whole subject changes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wish I remembered a lot of that. I really don't. I have no memory. I don't remember seeing anything that I was talking to, especially where it was at such a young age. But I start to remember the rocks that I would bring him. Like, we lived on the Cape, which Cape Cod it's a beach resort, basically. And I would go to our beach and I would pick up rocks. And when we went up north, I'd leave these shiny rocks on my windowsill. He'd reciprocate. The rocks that I brought were gone. One day I found a really, really shiny, like black rock. And I showed it to my dad, and my dad's like, oh, that's a nice rock. And I left it for my friend, the old man. So the rock disappeared, like all the rocks I left for this thing. My dad was telling his friend, who was a college professor, this was up near Dartmouth College. And the guy was asking about this, black shiny rock. He was, I don't exactly know what he taught, but it was very like nature and outdoors related. And so this guy wanted to know about this rock. And my dad, came down, knocked on my bedroom door. He's like, where's that rock? Like, I left it on the windowsill for the old man. So he opens the window, looks out. He's like, there's not a rock here. He goes outside, looking under the window. He's like, there's not a rock here. What'd you do with the rock? Like, I left it on the windowsill. The old man must have took it. So I don't know what he thought the rock was. but it was certainly interesting to him and his college professor friend. And, I might have given Bigfoot, who knows, thousands of dollars. But at that young age, that was my first experience with this. And then as I got older, my dad and I used to hike this mountain that we were vacationing on, and we did have an encounter. So,
Wow.
Interesting. Interesting.
Right in front of you, there was a Bigfoot.
You know
what?
what? I want to elaborate on something because you just got my wheels turning. I remember when I was little, I had an imaginary friend named Mr. Puff. And my mom asked me to draw a picture of Mr. Puff. And it looked like a big, elongated puffball with arms, legs, eyes, nose, and a mouth. And I can remember telling my mom that he was really tall.
Was he brown?
He is colored in crayon in brown. I actually still have that picture. My wife saved it when my mom passed away. And I now that you could, I'm gonna have to do a video on that because I think it actually. I've been pondering this idea that a lot of imaginary friends that kids have when they're young are these beings from other, realms or dimensions or something like that. They are real, but the adults, because their mind is so set in their ways, can't see it. A child can because they're not corrupted, so to speak. You know what I mean?
I do.
Oh no,
that's insane.
Also, I want to say it now before somebody leaves. After the show, I have some new evidence I want to share, just to let you guys know. Just so if you want to hear it, just stick around. So
yeah,
all right,
yeah, I'll stick around.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that is, I mean that struck a chord with me.
That you had an imaginary friend, and that you drew him as a large fuzzy being. Excuse me with my cord here. I don't know what to do about that. It's not long enough.
all right.
I was talking to Chris Connor from Trail to Bigfoot, and his initial encounter with a Bigfoot was when he was a very young kid. He and his sister Betty, who's on his channel a lot also,
right,
encountered them. And then I was looking at videos and I lost the You know how you get those suggested videos?
Yeah.
There was one that came up on my screen in my suggestions. And it said, my childhood imaginary friend was Bigfoot. And I can't find it anymore. Like, I didn't click on it. I was still scrolling. And then I went back to find it. And I don't know what happened. Phone rang or something. It was gone. But now I want to find that person. I don't know what channel it was. So if anyone knows anything about that, please let me know.
I'm gonna have to look into that too, man. So if I find it, I'll send you the link for sure. But yeah, I think a lot of these imaginary friends are these beings. You know what I mean?
I do.
I'm right there with you. I mean, you got my wheels turning. It's like, wait a minute. It just went Mr. Puff, click, and Brown, click, hairy looking, click, arms and legs, click, standing up on 2 feet. I have the picture I drew still. My wife has the picture, and I'm definitely going to be doing a video on that soon.
Please do.
Because I could show the picture and everything. I mean, it's something that's crossed my mind numerous times. Just sitting back watching videos, and it's like someone says something, and something just clicks in your head. Wait a minute. I wonder if these imaginary friends aren't so imaginary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
not.
I don't remember a big brown hairy man that I was talking to out there. So
Yeah, there's
I don't
actually
either.
reports of people.
I don't either. But I think
having-
as long as we get along in life,
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
He's frozen.
you know, shift.
There he is.
Well,
Yeah, we get
he's
a
back.
little. But, you know, as we get along in life, you know, I mean, our brains change. Our mental thought and our capacity changes and grows. And over time, it just, you know, you get to a certain age and it's like, click, no more. You know?
Yeah.
So
do you have a research site that you work on, or do you just go wherever, like one spot, or do you go just where, you know, a whole area, something like that?
So grew up vacationing up in New Hampshire, and that is my go-to spot.
Okay.
A few years back, I got sick with MS. They didn't know what it was, so I ended up in bed, and I ended up watching a bunch of channels to here we go. Now I'm in the middle. But I ended up watching a bunch of different channels. I watched Trail to Bigfoot. I was watching Christopher Noel. I was watching oh my God, Nathan Rio, excuse me. So your guest last week, you know, is buddies with him, but I was watching that channel while I was out of commission trying to figure out, you know, pretty much what I was going to do. My goal was to get back out in the woods, and those channels were big motivation to do it. But then Nathan Rio kind of faded away, right? Stopped his video, stopped his channel, and I found Hiker Dave.
Oh yeah, he's
Hiker
cool.
Dave is just like your average guy.
Yeah, he's
like,
cool.
You know, salt of the earth kind of guy who's out there. And I started watching him, and he's talking about areas that are, you know, 40 miles, not even 40 miles away, 40 miles by road, like, you know, 30 miles as the crow flies away from where I am. And as I got better, I was still watching his channel. I'd be coming back from doctor's appointments up in Boston, and I'd be like, you know what? There's a park right here that's, you know, connected by green pathways to where Dave's looking. I'm gonna stop and check this out. And I think my first video out is the first time I stopped, and I mean, I was hearing wood knocks and whoops, and like, holy smokes, Hiker Dave is right. So
yeah.
So
you just go wherever. You don't have a certain little area that you do work on a lot, or
I have two.
You have two. Okay.
One is down here on Cape Cod, where they should not be.
Right.
And the fact that they're here freaks me out. So if you can find any evidence that says no, they're not really here, that'd be great. I go out there and I wonder if I'm hoaxed. There's all kinds of things that I start thinking. There's way too much evidence. Why are they here?
Yeah.
That's one area. The other area is pretty much. Initially, it was a spot between the Green Mountain National Forest up in Vermont and the White Mountain National Forest in New Hampshire.
Okay.
And that's the area that, as a kid, I was having the experiences.
Oh, okay.
But then I found free campsites all over the place in the Green Mountain National Forest. And then I was finding them, you know, all over like northern New Hampshire. So that area expanded. And I will go wherever I can get a sighting. If someone's seeing stuff, I want to go find. That's what I do. I go out and.
Right. You brought up the Green Mountain, and it's kind of funny and stuff because I do metal detecting as a hobby, and one of the channels I follow is Green Mountain Metal Detecting.
Yes.
And one thing I've noticed is that if you start watching these metal detecting videos and don't pay attention to the metal detecting, but look at the background, you will see so many signs. So many signs. There's a guy in Germany that does metal detecting, and I actually sent a link to Bronzini Bigfoot and said, watch this video, and from this timestamp to this timestamp, tell me what you think it looks like. And he's just like, I mean, it's like Colorado style stuff. huge, massive logs leaned up in a teepee structure. And the guy's just sitting there metal detecting away, no care in the world. You
I
will
do.
be amazed at so much stuff in the background, and they have no clue because it's not their subject. It's not their topic.
It's not just metal detecting channels, it's also rock hounding channels. People who are out in the woods alone.
Yes.
It's amazing. And I don't get why it is that some of us see it and hear it when we're there, and some of us don't. And that's something that I just don't. Did I move this? No. There we go. All right. Now we're in the middle. But that it's an interesting. Why is it when I go out in the woods and I hear something, I think enough to turn around and look and say, "Is that what is it? Whatever I heard as a kid in the woods? I don't know."
Yeah.
And then
Right.
some of these people are. A few videos ago of mine, there's a guy, Sean James, who went off, built a cabin in the woods, and lives in the woods, lives off the land as much as he can. And he was in the middle of doing a video, and all of a sudden you start hearing like whoops and wood knocks, and he's looking around with like a scared look on his face, going, "Oh, that's odd. Owls shouldn't be out at this time of day." And then you start hearing the wood knocks, bam, 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 bam. And he's looking around like freaked out, like he knows something, doesn't say anything. But some of those channels don't even look around at that stuff. That stuff goes on in the backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to me.
Right. There's one channel out there and stuff called Aqua Jigger, and he's always making comments. Oh, it might be a Sam Squatch. You know what I mean? He calls them Sam Squatches. But I mean, he does just exploration. He goes into caves. He does metal detecting. He does gold panning. He just does adventure stuff. But he is very well aware of Sasquatch. But I don't know if he knows the signs to look for and to pay attention to. But it's insane that I have a picture on my phone. Lewis has seen the picture, and it's on my channel. It's blatant. You can see eyes, nose, mouth, sloped forehead, and it's very clear of what it is. And I show it to all kinds of people, and they're like, "What am I looking at? I don't see it." And then you get some people that just go, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Instantly, they see it. Are you kidding me? That came from my video. Are you serious? Some people see it and some people don't because they don't want to. The human brain is very powerful.
It really is. And I think there is something to, I don't know, our perception, our brain waves, once we understand that they're there. I think this is all tied into the reason why some people don't see them. And some people will have a sighting and then another sighting and then another sighting and then, be able to establish habituation and things like that. Why is it? Is it our consciousness? Is it theirs? Is there something they want from us, either psychologically or emotionally, like, that contact kind of thing, which is probably half of why, the three of us are here right now. It always makes me wonder what's going on.
I think some of them deserve to get the sighting. Maybe, sometimes it ruins people's lives. Hunters quit hunting. They sell all their stuff. Maybe, I don't know why they do, why the Bigfoot shows himself to those kind of people, but I know some people, they feel that they can handle it, I guess. I don't know. If I was a Bigfoot, I probably wouldn't show myself to anybody.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think that they want to interact with everybody, and they put us through certain tests to see how we react. We run away, then we're not the one. If we turn around, stand there, and go, "I know exactly what that was."
Mm-hmm.
They're going, "Finally, someone who knows. Let's play with this guy."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do, and I've said it on my channel a few times. Once you know they're there, they know that you know that they're there, and once they know that you know that they're there, the woods will
Yeah.
never be the same. Like everything
Yeah.
changes.
You
Yeah, it
stepped
changes.
into a whole new arena.
Yeah, it changes. Yeah.
You just stepped into a whole new arena.
Exactly.
Now you're
They're
there
like,
for a
okay,
whole new set of tests.
should we mess with this
You know?
guy? I don't know what they're thinking, but I know what happens to us.
You know, and that's what I try when I go out. That's exactly what I try and convey to them. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to learn from you. I'm not, I am not a threat.
See,
You
I
know,
think
I've
that's
been
why
growled at once by them, and after that, they haven't growled at me since.
well, that's why you get interaction because you. Does that make me sound like a nut?
No.
Because you
I think,
interact
like
with
you
them
said,
mentally.
once you know that they know that you know about them, it opens a whole nother door.
It definitely does.
You know,
So, but even
and
as Lewis was talking about earlier, with hunters and things, like we've got we don't use the tool we have of YouTube enough. First of all, I want to say that, but
right,
we've got such great examples of that. For example, with what you were saying, Lewis, Carrie Arnold, best example of that. A hunter, like avid hunter, out in the woods all the time, had been hunting on that land for years before he saw this guy, this being, and he didn't run. He didn't run. So, in my opinion, he passed their test,
Right.
but didn't go back in the woods.
Right.
Felt an aggressive presence from these things.
Right.
Let's jump, whatever, 2,000 miles to Christopher Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's another person out in the woods
Mm-hmm.
interacting with these things.
Right. Yeah.
Totally different thing. He doesn't carry a gun.
Nope.
All right. He is, by all means, an intellectual,
Mm-hmm.
And was so curious about them, right? That I think they became more curious about him. And totally different reaction to very similar kinds of things. Two people who are out in the woods and like, hey, what the heck is this thing? One is like, oh my gosh, what's that? I'm out of here. The other's like, what is this thing?
Well, I think it's a little different because of how they present themselves. Like a hunter, he'll be all over the place. And then the other, well, he knows his boundaries. He's learning his boundaries. He sits and waits and sees what the reaction is, and then he goes farther. Just like my research, I do never go down inside the area where they are during nighttime. I mean, I camped down there once and they made sure I left. But I know my boundaries now, you know what I mean, for a long time ago. And I think that's the difference between the hunter and somebody else.
Well, that's kind of my
and this
point,
last
is
trip
that
out
aggressive
for me,
hunter got the aggressive,
and they have a
stuck its
weapon.
tongue out at him.
Yeah.
And the more passive intellectual got the Music Man, and he interacted for how long? I watched that for years. It feels like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there was a peaceful interaction where the two wanted to know more about each other.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
these are the kind of things that make me think. I think way too much.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do. We're all supposed to think. We got to think to figure this out. You know what I mean? And more people are open to thinking outside the box than what other people are, And like Lewis said, with the boundaries this last weekend out, I definitely felt that I knew my boundaries.
Mhm.
I knew where I wasn't supposed to go, and I can go here, and I'm welcome there, but I can't go any further, And that was just a feeling I got. Okay, I've made the comment. I want to get back there to see what I find, but at the same time, I don't want to overstep my boundaries.
Yeah, I don't want to do
You know,
Mhm.
so
that.
Yes.
you know, you know, and this is what this whole podcast is about: is we're all learning from each other. So, you
Yeah,
know,
from
that's what we need to do.
from what happened that one night with my sister, I'm not going to get into that, but it just shows you like how far they can get up next to me, knowing that I'm not going to cross that line and get close to that. Then, so they didn't even know I was not going to go up there, but they, that respect that I didn't see it because I didn't go up there. I could have when I heard it, but I didn't. And then when I left, it came right up. So it's weird.
Lewis, do you
Yeah.
ever try and project mentally the way Kevin does?
No, I don't. I don't.
Aside from just through your actions, but also through.
I try to stick with just one area, one thing. I don't get into that mental thing. I don't get into the stick thing. I try to just find out what they do during the day and why they do it and how they do it, how they notify each other, how they do things like that. I don't get into the spiritual type part of it because it's too much for me. I like to get one area and dig into it and find out real details of things, and I find out some pretty good stuff. I mean, but it's a lot, and it's slow going. So I can't live 5 times to find out what they do, all this stuff. It's too much,
Like that, Lewis is a perfect example of mental capacity. His mental capacity for what he can handle is lower than mine. I want to get into their head. I want them to get into my head. I want them to know that I'm not there to hurt them, and I want to do that whole mental spiritual thing with them. I mean, I don't know exactly how far you want to go, but you're definitely getting in there deep. You know what I mean?
I
So
see. I'm
get
glad
different
that
levels.
You are on opposite sides of a fence here.
Oh, but no, but we're all open. I'm open-minded to all.
Yeah, we
but
are absolutely.
I don't go into that because then it takes me away from what I'm really trying to do. I think if like you're working in a warehouse, everybody has their own job. If they did more than their job, then they would never get their job done. So you just stick with that, and that's what you can get a lot more done. I think just working on that part. That's how I think. But some people are multitask. Me, I don't know.
I'm not a good multitasker. There's the stream of all like the people on here over here, and I can't even focus to read it.
Yeah. Me too, man.
All right.
I couldn't do it.
It's like Lewis over there doesn't want a sighting.
No,
he don't want to see it.
No,
he's happy. He is happy with his audio recorders and figuring out what they're doing by that.
Yep.
And I'm the type of person that wants to sit down on a log and have a beer with Bigfoot.
There you go. I would.
You know what I mean?
Beer with Bigfoot. In fact,
you know what I mean? So
I should change my channel. I should have a segment that says "Beer with Bigfooters," so that you and I can sit down and have a beer and talk about this stuff.
Right. We just get all kinds of people on a live chat and just sit back and just chat. You know what I mean?
Alcohol and talking about Bigfoot is probably not a good thing.
You can't drink beer through an oxygen mask. Try not to smell it.
But I mean, it just shows the different levels of mental capacity of what people can handle, and I think they know that.
You think they know that? Okay,
absolutely.
But now, on the other hand, Lewis earlier today released a video on Dogman.
Yeah.
Right.
So once you make the leap to Bigfoot, right? You make the leap to other things as well. But you choose not to make. Is it that you choose that you don't want to do that?
Well, I'm open-minded to it. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. If I try to make people believe about Bigfoot and not about Dogman, that would be wrong. So I'm open-minded.
How can we expand our consciousness and say yes, Bigfoot exists, but Dogman doesn't? Nope.
I can never say that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I share that kind of stuff. I even share woo stuff on my group. I mean, I'm not supposed to. People get mad at me, but I mean, I get over it. I'm open-minded to everything, but that's just the way it is.
Oops.
Yeah.
Rated G.
Yeah.
Sam in the camera here.
It's like the same thing for me. I am a firm 100%. I'm not a believer. I am a knower of Bigfoot. I know they exist. which then expands my mind and be like, okay, well, if they exist, why can't Dogman exist? Why can't leprechauns exist? Why can't little people exist? Why can't any of all this other stuff exist? So
Yeah, I'm a believer until they prove me wrong.
I don't want to get into the subject because, I mean, quite frankly, Dogman scares the crap out of me.
Me too.
I don't want to see a freaking 8-foot tall werewolf. I mean, come on, who does? You know?
Like,
I mean, but I think once you open the door into that belief,
scared me.
Yeah, once you open that door into that belief is when you open the door into them stepping into your life and showing you what
there's
is
a
really
lot of
going
that going on in the Bigfoot world right now.
Yes, there is. Trail to Bigfoot is one.
Yep.
It is. It's only one, though.
And I have something to say about that at the end of the show, too.
That is only one.
At the end of the show?
Yeah, that's part of my thing, my evidence.
I can't wait.
You know, so, you know, I mean.
So can we talk about that a little?
Absolutely. We can talk about whatever you want.
So my first experience with Bigfoot were up here. I got a lot of mind speak, you know, as a little kid, even before I remember it. There was my imaginary friend. There was something outside my window I would talk to at night, get in trouble and sent to bed and told if I got up, I was in deep trouble. And my dad was a Marine Corps officer. I believed him.
Mm-hmm.
So then as I moved on, I would just be out in the woods, you know, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to probably my early teens. These things would all of a sudden come in. And one example is I used to share my peanut butter sandwiches that I took out by the river with me. I would go down by the river and build forts. Once the fort was built, you know, I'd sit down and have my peanut butter sandwich. Or I'd, you know, build one fort for summer. As I got older, those forts got better and better and better. Have my peanut butter sandwich, but I'd only eat half. I'd put the other half back in the bag. I'd put it on the rock, and I would go back to doing what I was doing. At the end of the day, not only would the peanut butter sandwich be gone, but there'd be a rock on the bag so that it didn't blow away as litter.
No, he's probably saying, put another sandwich in there, please.
Probably, yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely a physical being. There's definitely something out there.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you talk about the mind speak and these things, during that period, one of the mind speak things I got was don't feed these things. And I know that you say, don't feed these things. And then you bring them apples.
Yeah, sign behind them.
Yes, I see the sign behind
The sign behind me used to say, please do not feed the Sasquatch. And then I was a big firm believer, you know, don't feed these things because they may get aggressive when they don't get it. And through my experience, well, I've been feeding them apples. And I haven't had a bad experience, so I had to cross the knot out of the sign. So please do feed the Sasquatch, you know, I mean.
I saw you open the peanut butter jar, but did they take any?
No, they didn't. No, there's no finger marks in it or not. And I got the feeling, you know, less is more. So I had to go out.
Of stuff there.
I did have a lot of, I mean, yeah, I can understand exactly where they're at. I mean, I had peanut butter, I had apples, I had grapes, oranges, rocks, seashells, fabric strips, a hydro dipped rock. I mean, it was just a smorgasbord of stuff, but I didn't do it to offend them or to scare them. I wanted to spoil them.
Right.
And that's all. But the apples always disappeared. And the glass rocks, a pink and an orange one originally disappeared. I had replaced it with the same colors of pink and orange glass rock. And now the only rock that's missing is the orange one. So there's 2 orange glass rocks and a pink glass rock.
Right. Hunter's orange. You know, is that why all those people that David Politas is talking about are gone? Wrong color?
You know, it's more of like an opaque pearl orange.
Okay.
It's really cool looking. I mean, I could see their fascination with it, but I had blue stuff out there too. And obviously, a lot of people out there say they like the color blue. They didn't take anything
We
blue.
hear that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. My group did not take anything blue.
Okay.
They took a pink rock and they took 2 orange rocks.
Barb
Lewis,
and Gabby.
do you gift?
No, I don't. I tried it, but I noticed I just did it to divert one of the baby Bigfoots away from my recorder because they keep jacking with it. But so I stopped gifting because it didn't work.
Dang.
And I did try it again. And then during the day, a Bigfoot came down the mountain toward me, and it freaked me out because I didn't want to see it. And I stopped doing that. I'm done.
Because wait. A Bigfoot came down the mountain towards me, and I didn't want to see it.
No,
So
yeah.
Just like turned your back and was like, see
No,
ya,
I had all my
thanks.
stuff on the ground, and I was there for I've been there all day, and I was looking through my trail camera, and then I heard leaf litter up on the hill, and I was like, oh, man, hours right here. It's hot, and they're just moving the deer. I thought it was deer, and then all of a sudden it's walking bipedally and coming down toward me, and I'm like, wait a minute. I started getting goosebumps, and I know I looked like a ghost at that moment. Didn't have a mirror though, and then it started coming down. And I tried to record it, and then it walked in front of me, a path on the other side of these bushes, and then it got to the left side, and it knew or thought I was still there, but I was really quiet, and it took 2 really slow steps, and that freaked me out. So I yelled to make him stop. Don't come out, man. You know what I mean? I want to come back tomorrow. And then so I grabbed all my stuff and I went up to go past him to get out of there. And I knew exactly what area he was in, but I couldn't see him. And so I just started sticking around and started filming. Somehow he told another one behind me by the river to come up. So and then I started hearing the leaves crunching behind me. So that's when I tore out of there. I was down out, and they're getting back up here. So I left. No more food for me. That's it.
There you go. That's as close as you want.
That's it.
There you go.
Good grief.
and here I am at the other end of the spectrum where it's like, hey, I'm holding an apple. Come get it. You know?
They're active where I go. We're very active.
So now you guys are Southern California.
Yes. Lewis is more Southern California
I'm San
than
Diego.
I am.
I'm San Diego.
Yeah.
He's LA.
I'm LA.
Okay.
So
yeah.
And from our interactions together and stuff, we've discovered that even just that short amount of distance, they're greatly different in what they do.
Yeah, you guys like an hour apart?
Yeah, about that hour and a half apart.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And when you say greatly different,
his are a little more vocal than mine. Mine are absolutely quiet.
Mine's
absolutely quiet. Unless you startle them. In my area, there's totally silent. I mean, you could hear like foot crunching, walking. As for vocalizations, the only time I've heard a vocalization is when I startled one and it growled at me. And it rattled. I mean, it vibrated the lungs in my body.
Oh yeah.
And it must have been at least within 5 feet of it. And I've heard that growl before in Idaho and a couple other places in Southern California. So once you hear that, it sticks with you and you know exactly what that growl is. And I heard that growl and I just shook my head and went, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Mm-hmm. Are you serious? I went out there with no expectations because I've been up there for thousands and thousands of hours riding my mountain bike. And I never even considered that there could be Bigfoot in this area. And then I got growled at. Mm-hmm. And then Bronzini Bigfoot sent me
about the growl. So things have changed for me in my my area around here. And I haven't put a video up, honestly, because I have this fear that the whole paranormal Sasquatch thing, I'll record videos and delete them, like half-hour videos, and then I'll delete them because it sounds like absolute crap when I tell people what happened.
That's crazy.
So one of the things about the growl, is it a growl, like a growl, or is it, I have this weird theory that we breathe basically in through our nose, out through our mouth. I have this theory that they breathe based on what I have heard, especially this winter. They breathe differently. They breathe backwards. That they may breathe in through the mouth and out through a very wet, very large sinus.
Yeah, I heard a lot of that too. I heard about that. Yeah. When you're walking.
So I hear that in the woods, right?
Yeah.
Like March 7th, I haven't put a video up. I recorded probably 3 hours worth of video. Not one bit of audio came up. You were talking about lost video the other day. Not one bit of audio. When I'm in the parking lot and saying, hey, I'm going in, I'm doing this, blah, 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 all that BS came out. All the real stuff when I'm in the woods, none of it came out. That day, I had more like of the paranormal experiences than I've ever had. I didn't find any new structures, any new glyphs, any new signs. I had nothing but these bizarre paranormal experiences. That day, have you, and let me ask you both, you're out there, do you hear the 50-pound sack of potatoes that drops behind you in the woods? Boom! And then you turn around and there's nothing there?
What I've experienced, and I've experienced this in several places from Idaho, northern Idaho, all the way to the deep mountains of Southern California to my local area. And the only way I can describe it is if you take a big cinder block, drop it on grass, that thump.
It's the thump.
It's the thump. And I have heard that. I've heard footsteps like that come up right behind me. Turn around, there's nothing there. I've heard that twice.
Do you get the black shadows?
Yes. I actually get the black shadows in my house.
You can see it.
Yeah. Right in your peripheral vision. Always. And I've seen them in northern Idaho. I've had window tapping in northern Idaho. I've had growling in northern Idaho. There's one place I'm not allowed to go to anymore, per my wife, up here in Southern California, where from the moment I stepped foot on the dirt, I felt like something wanted to rip my head off. Yeah. And then I actually lost a very expensive 360 trail cam up there. So no matter, it had sensors all the way around it. It had a camera that swiveled. If a particular sensor got triggered, the camera would swing around, it'd take a picture. If another sensor got triggered, it'd swing, take a picture. And it was the first time I put it out. And I've never gotten it back because I've experienced missing time. I've experienced missing memory. And I figured it out that particular time and that particular memory, I went back to get my camera, and the trail I took is completely barricaded with huge logs all the way across it, all the way up it. You know, I've experienced the thumping on the ridges. When I do stuff differently. I don't walk the high road. I walk down in the valleys. I want to give them the high road because it's going to make them more comfortable. And I don't want to.
Did you watch Nathan Rio? How'd you learn that? Just by going out, or
just by going out? By going out, and I've actually watched Nathan Rio. I've watched from me watching all kinds of people. Okay, well, he had this experience here. He had the same experience here, and it turned out to be a bad experience. You know what I mean? Because they were on the high road where they wanted to be. So by deduction of watching thousands and thousands of videos, I've kind of created my own little, okay, well, let's walk down in the canyon because they want the high road. And I could hear them. I could hear one on one side of me on the ridge. I could hear another one on the other side of me, and they would leapfrog each other. So one would go up, you'd hear thump, 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 thump for about 100 yards. And I'd keep walking, and I would hear another one on the left side of me, thump, 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 thump. And it was like a leapfrog.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All the way down.
Was it just two?
As far as I know, it was just two. But
my video, Hike with Bigfoot, I hear that the entire way down a mountainside. Like for half a day, I'm hearing took, took, took. And it was the trail I was on was all cutbacks. But you could definitely, as you turn the corner on a cutback and started heading down that way, so your back was to that side of the mountain, you would hear that.
Oh yeah.
He's getting ready to the next cutback.
Yeah.
They're leapfrogging each other.
Exactly.
Cutback to cutback. That's what they're doing. And I had been growled at with an instant branch break as I was trying to make my way through the barricades. And it was at that point where I stood up and put my hands up. I don't have a gun. I'm not here to hurt you. I just want my camera. So we got a couple of ways we can go about this. You can go get the camera for me and bring it back to me, or you can let me in to go get it. Mm-hmm. But no matter what happens, I'll be back, because I'm not here to mess with you. I'm here to learn from you.
So what he did at Bronzini.
yeah. Bronzini, actually, I told Bronzini of that area, and I sat on the phone with him.
Go ahead and go. It'll be okay.
You'll be 2.5 hours and walked him exactly where to go. And he got to that spot and he was like, there's no camera here. It's gone. And I think I know why. There's a video on my channel where I'm sitting. It's actually called My Wife is the Best. Because when I was sitting in front of this log, my wife was sitting in the car sicker than a dog. And she was sitting there waiting for me because she knows my passion for this. And all I wanted to do was go get my camera and come back. And I never was able to get the camera. And I walked Bronze after I had to come back and watch my own videos to figure out what I did. Because my memory was just wiped.
That also happened to me on that day, whatever it is, March 7th or 8th. Whenever I filmed that video, I lost time. I lost my sense of direction. This is a woods that I know. And I had no idea. I knew that I had to head north, right? North is easy. The sun is setting in the west. So there's a big orange ball helping you with your mental compass. And I could not focus on north. I'd be walking, and the next thing I knew, the sun was behind me, or suddenly it was on the wrong side of me. I just got totally lost.
Wow. Yeah. I thought I was out there for about 3 hours, and it turns out I was out there for like 6.5.
That's insane. A lot of hours.
Just wandering around. And I must have
wandered through the woods.
I must have covered 15 miles and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Just walking back and forth in the same freaking canyon, thinking there were different canyons every time. And it got to a point to where it's like I almost snapped out of it and went, I need to go back to the car. And I walked out. I gave up. I walked out. Once I gave up, my whole sense of direction came back. I need to go that way. I need to go that way. Once I gave up, it was the weirdest thing ever. But I'm not allowed back there because my wife no longer wants me there because there was 2 dead bodies
she wants you to come
found. 2 dead bodies found directly in the middle of my area that I used to go to. Right. And after that experience, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen here at home. I had a blue rock missing for a very long time, and the first thing I do when I come out is I go feed my rabbit, and that blue rock showed up about 8 months later, directly in front of the rabbit cage. And then I found leaves from my wife's plants tucked under pots of other plants, I feel footsteps go across my deck, and it's a 16-foot deck, and I feel 3 footsteps. So you tell me the stride.
Any shadow at home?
Oh yeah, plenty of shadows out of the corner of my eyes all the time. So
What's the
Have you
evidence you get out there,
saged?
Matt?
Have you saged?
No, I haven't. No. I mean, there's nothing violent going on here. But I mean, I think they can sense. Obviously, people across the globe say they can sense your intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they can also, like a fingerprint. Everybody's energy is different,
Okay.
and I think they can lock onto that energy signature and follow you wherever they are, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. They are everywhere and they are anywhere they want to be at any given time. So,
Okay. So,
and I,
but with the, I'm not arguing that point at all, because there's
Right.
weird shit that happens.
yeah.
But this, like, you believe, it's a physical being.
I'm believing that it is a physical being that is above a higher conscience than humans.
Like a higher vibration when you say a higher conscience?
Right.
Okay. See, because this is a big leap for a
Right.
lot of, like, when we talk about, I put a video out and I started huge fights between Colorado forest beings and Bigfoot Odyssey.
yeah.
And, I mean, there was just shit happened. Excuse me, pardon my language.
Yeah.
But I have this belief, right? And I said it in the video where I was pointing people here, that you can't, for example, a math equation, you can't take any of the symbols out of that. So let's say that you have this huge mathematical equation, like what was that movie with Matt Damon? Anyway, how do you like that? Right? If you take parentheses out of one of those equations, it's a totally different equation. You get a totally different answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, when we start talking about this stuff, which you're talking about, I'm kind of thinking about talking about.
Woo.
Based on personal experiences.
The woo. And that's such an awful word for it, really.
It is.
Based on personal experiences. And so many people out there who are, quote, researching is the wrong word, but experiencing the subject.
Right?
Because research involves experiments and duplicating that experiment and all that, and I just can't.
It's not going to happen with them.
I can't do it properly. Like,
no,
even
they're not going to let us
Melba
do that
Ketchum
properly.
couldn't do it properly, and she's a flippin'
Right.
doctor.
Right.
For the rest of the science world to say, yeah, okay. How do we account for the number of researchers having these kind of experiences, right? We acknowledge that it's a physical being, but we've got people out there who are saying, hey, this is, it's just an ape. And we've got people out there saying, no, these things fly UFOs. I've seen the blue light. But we're all a bunch of friggin' whack jobs, excuse me, who believe in Bigfoot.
Right.
So everyone else on the outside looks in and says, oh, these are those crazy people who believe in Bigfoot.
There's those whack jobs.
And inside, there's like a flippin' blender that's being put into the middle of us. 3 blades on a blender. There's the ape, there's the man, there's the UFO thing or whatever.
Right.
How do we, as this mocked community, because we are, right? And they call us the Bigfoot community, but it is everything but that.
Right.
How do we try and say, yeah, you experienced that? Some people haven't. Some people have. My biggest fear, all right, aside from all this, how do we all get along and figure out what's really out there?
Right.
The same way as if you did, if like hunters, they don't believe in Bigfoot. They hear all these things and don't Still don't believe that those are noises associated with Bigfoot. They think it's another animal. I think it's going to be a slow going thing. Like I don't research, woo stuff, but if I experience woo stuff, I'm going to report the woo stuff that happened to me. I'm not going to hide it. I think just like, anybody else, I think all the researchers have to be more open-minded to the whole thing. Don't be hypocritical. If you believe in that,
there are people who don't even listen to tree structures.
That's
fine.
I mean?
And granted, we never see them do that.
But you know what? If they get a sighting, I bet you they're going to start looking at it. You know what I mean? So it's going to have to come to that. People are stubborn-minded. You know what I mean?
Are we going to start having protests in Washington?
Yeah. I don't know. They're going to have to experience.
There's someone out there that's already tried that and didn't end up well for him.
I think just do what you do and enjoy what you do.
When I was starting out and all this, he was the only one I had to go to. You know what I mean? And I learned a lot. A lot of what he says is true.
Are you talking about the person I mentioned earlier?
I think so.
Yeah. Same with me. Listen. And I fought with him publicly online about certain things, but it's all minutia.
It is.
I mean? It's all this little subtle differences.
It is.
And I think the man's a very wise man. Not only have I read his books, but he's one of the few authors where I've actually bought his books.
Right. Right.
These are good books. It's legitimate research.
They are. It's legitimate. And, based on your personal experiences, based on my personal experiences, and I could say this, that I've watched Rock Hounding with Bigfoot from Colorado, and he's had the same footsteps come up behind him and turn around. There's nothing there.
I hope everyone watches them because there's something to that. He's incredibly droll and sarcastic sometimes.
He is. He's
finding stuff out there. If you've ever seen the pictures that he has of the eyes.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't discredit because you don't believe it. This person experienced it. He was there and he's reporting it. Don't discredit it. You don't have to buy into it or anything, but don't discredit it because you may end up
out in the woods too.
Exactly. You may experience it someday yourself. I've had the footsteps come up behind me, turn around, there's nothing there. I've had that happen twice. He's had footsteps come up behind him, nothing there. I found a single stick jammed into a pile of frickin' rocks. He found a pile of rocks with a stick jammed in it. That's a lot, and he's in Colorado. I'm in frickin' LA. There's, if you're really into the subject, you can't discredit other people. You have to go out. You have to watch other people's stuff. We need to watch the other channels. But when you say things like that, I found this, and he found the exact same thing, and whatever it is. How many miles away? 600, 800? I don't know. It's like 3,800 miles.
3,800?
Yeah, from me to Colorado, where he's at in Colorado. Yeah.
But this happens a lot. Like, if I find a glyph, let's say, and we don't know Bigfoot does glyphs, but this is something anomalous that happens in the woods. And GPE or,
Yeah, I follow GPE too because Europe doesn't have freaking Bigfoot.
No, I think they do. Deborah Flello.
I think they do. GPE has proved it to me.
All these people. I found a new guy today, Louis. Oh, crap. I forgot his last name. Or Louis something. But these people are finding things. And the thing is that they match what we're finding.
Yeah.
So there's something going. What if it's not Bigfoot? What if it's something else? I was talking about these people in Europe, and I brought up the name Deb. She sent me a list of 6 questions to answer tonight. We just haven't had time to do that. But she's got great questions. What if these things aren't Bigfoot? What if there's something else?
Are you talking Deborah Flello?
Deborah Flello.
She subscribed to my channel. I want you to read those questions.
She
absolutely right now. Here, whatever. She's in Italy, right?
She is in France.
France.
I told
Sorry,
her that
Deborah.
we probably have to talk about this in a cafe with a couple bottles of wine. But
Right.
here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah. Please do,
Happen to have
because
them on the big screen. Right across
I
from
think
me.
I subscribed back to her and went, holy crap, she's in France, and she's out there
in the woods.
in the wood finding the same stuff that we find here.
Honest to God, this woman is like
She's totally
she
legit.
is the Bigfoot structure play-by-play queen. If you
Oh,
listen to
absolutely.
her describe a
Absolutely.
structure, and GPE is the same way. When GPE
G-
describes a structure, it's like you're watching like the greatest soccer match ever.
Right. So let's get to her questions. Let's
All
do
right.
this, because I'm totally into her, and I find it very fascinating what she's finding out there.
She's brilliant. She was on like a panel with Rio where they were
Right.
gathering information and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
she's
no one
big
knows
out
what
there.
all that information is. No one knows where that is. I want to
Right.
find it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, question 1. Is it possible, because I had mentioned we might talk about some paranormal stuff, because there's some bizarre relationship there. We don't know what it is.
There is.
But question 1, is it possible that the paranormal aspect of Sasquatch could be connected to the woods and not necessarily to Sasquatch? Lewis?
Depending
I don't know. I'm not about that stuff, so I don't know.
Lewis, you don't have a poker face at all.
Oh man, put me in the hot
You know
spot.
what? I'll say this. Think of the history of this world as we know it. Think of all the beings that have lived on it, all of the animals that have lived on it, and all of the energy that has died in every square inch of this world throughout that time. There ain't a square inch on this world that something hasn't died and left energy signature somewhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it could absolutely be the woods. It could be that and the energy within that. Maybe sometime thousands of years ago there was a native Indian camp or something that got slaughtered. I mean, that's going to leave a big energy signature in that area. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's possible.
What about elementals? Have you heard about elementals? So I'm a Bigfoot researcher,
right.
And my neighbor, he just moved out, which is too bad. Just down the street was the head of what they call CAPERS, which is Cape and Islands Paranormal Research Society. He had the big van. They go to places and research, and we used to have a lot of deep discussions. So these elementals are basically forest spirits from the beginning of time. Are we experiencing, we've seen physical beings, and there is obviously something else happening out there that's on a spiritual level. Is that elementals? Are elementals alongside these things? Is it a symbiotic relationship between them? Do you think there's a relationship between them?
I heard of reports of those kind of things out there in the woods. There was a guy that lived out in a ranch, or he bought a house. People told him, don't buy the house. It's haunted. But it's been empty for like 13 years or something. And he ended up buying it anyway. He didn't listen to nobody. When he bought it, he ended up at nighttime, he ended up looking out into the woods, kind of way out there past his, those fence around his yard. And he's seen out there, and it looked like flashlights outside, all up in the woods. And then, so he went out there to go confront him, and the lights disappeared. So one day he goes up back by his house, and he's sitting there, and he's sitting by his house in the dark, got a big old flashlight and a shotgun. And he's like, I'm going to get him. So the light's coming closer and closer. And then he gets up and runs out there, and the light disappears. And it's right there in front of him. And then he went out there during the day, and he went out and laid down in the grass. And then nighttime came, and this light came right over him. And he said that he can see, and he looked up and he could see a Bigfoot's face, but not in front of the light. It was reflected from the inside of the light. And it was just a light. And all you could see is just his face. And it noticed him, and it took off. It just.
And so then, I'm picturing, for some reason, Bigfoot floating in a bubble.
But it was not, it was just like a light bulb, like a light. a glow
Okay.
of light. But when he
Like
looked
an orb.
into the light, yeah,
Okay.
kind of like that. But he seen into the light, and he saw a Bigfoot face in it, something like he said. And then after it looked down and saw him, it took off. And then he saw some kind of devil thing. I don't know what that thing is, but
Yeah, I'll stay away from that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to know about that
for
stuff.
sure.
So,
So
I think
Well-
they're energy beings. I think bottom line is they're energy beings.
yeah.
And
technically, we are. Everything is. You know what I mean?
exactly. Everything vibrates. Everything
We're all
has a
moving
frequency. We're all moving particles, and it just depends on how fast we're moving, how much we vibrate, and what frequency that vibration creates. You know, and we're all different. We're all different. Every animal, every person, it's like a fingerprint. You know what I mean? So there's a lot more to this world than what people think. You know,
What's your take on it? What do you believe in? What's your idea of Bigfoot? Do you believe in all that other stuff too? Woo, and is that what you investigate? Everything?
Ultimately,
Yeah.
I had a Bigfoot sighting. So at 14 or 15, which prompted this. My family eventually, we stopped going to the property in New Hampshire. The property was sold off. The people who bought it went bankrupt, and it got donated to a wildlife preserve, which is awesome.
Mm.
But so I used to go back and visit because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what this like. I had a very strong attachment. This was more than my childhood friend. This was something that has greatly influenced my life. It's something that has influenced maybe even my spirituality. It's something that there's something very strong out. Once you have this experience, you are, I don't know, not roped in, because roped in is an unwilling participation, you know?
Just addicted.
But
I would say
you
more like
are
lured,
drawn in somehow.
drawn.
To this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drawn.
And so I used to go back out and look for this. And I mean, my initial things were when I was 3, so it's been my entire life. Over time, I've had an awful lot of time to think about this. And I think these are, I don't think an ape. I don't think a relic hominid. I don't, I think that this is, that I'm going to back up. And I'm going to go to right now, with humans alone on the planet for the last, since the Neanderthals and Denisovans died off. This would be the first time in the history of the world since humans evolved that we would be the only human species on the planet. I think that this is a very intelligent cousin of ours. So, if you believe in the candelabra thing, here we go. I moved the road. Yeah, this camera's backwards. Anyway, the whole candelabra thing. Like, we're this little piggy, and they're this little piggy. And they're still here. I think that we have proven ourselves to be destroyers. And I think they, as very intelligent beings, do everything in their power to avoid us like COVID-19.
The plague. Yeah, exactly.
And I, not only that, it jumps more. If you look at our civilization and our population, no matter what religion you're looking at, no matter what spiritual beliefs you're looking at, we send our gurus, whatever, our priests, Jesus went to the desert for 40 days. Think of the Indian guru sitting on the mountaintop. So many of our cultures have sent their spiritual advisors or what have you to the woods, to the mountains, to nature anyway. So here's a close ancestor to ours, which I believe has all of our intelligence and then some. who's spending time alone in nature, right? Which is where most of our, and I use the term guru for lack of a better word, most of our gurus go for their spiritual enlightenment. So
Yeah.
I think perhaps these are an enlightened being. And if you look into, what human mythology and what have you says of enlightened beings. Mythology is the wrong word, but I'm not really good at finding the right word lately. When you look at that, I think this is a very spiritual race of beings with, as far as our intelligence, probably higher.
Mhm.
Way
As
higher.
far as our spirituality, probably much more open and much
Way
more
better.
interactive with each other on a spiritual level.
Yes.
And I firmly, so I have a video somewhere in my past called The Guru of the Woods, and it's me trying to talk about this. I am every bit as illiterate there as I am right now. But I think there's something to that. I think there's a reason why they avoid us. I think there's a reason why they're in the woods. And I think that they have, where we are sitting here completely encumbered by technology,
Yes.
they are not. And they're able to experience the world around them and to understand, like on a much greater level than we ever could, exactly what's going on in not just the world, but the universe. Does that make me sound like some kind of nutbag?
Well,
We all
I think I can suggest a couple of channels for you if you're not already subscribed to them that may enlighten you on that very subject. And one of them is Ken King.
I haven't subscribed to him, so I'll have
he's
to
on here
look.
actually.
Check out Ken King, and then check out his wife Rachel, who has Into the Veil.
Yeah, she's into the woo
Oh,
stuff too.
They're in the. If I go back,
They're
to
in the
comments.
chat. Yes, yeah, they're
Yeah, and the other person in the chat was Driftless, who made a
Drift.
brilliant thing. That breathing that I talked about, he
Yes.
actually not only knew about it but named it.
I
He
am
is-
subscribed to Driftless also.
If
there's
you ever have a question about Bigfoot, this man can answer it.
Right,
Drift.
right. Yeah, Driftless is awesome.
Yeah.
And he's just so mellow and nonchalant about all of it. You know what I mean? He's just
And-
like, well, this is what I think, but there's a lot of great people out there, and I think a lot of their great evidence that they come across is being overlooked. And that's the whole point of this podcast. So it doesn't matter where you're way up at the top of the ladder or down at the bottom or in between somewhere. We want to hear it. And
Yeah,
we are not going to discredit it. We are not going to discount it. We're not going to try and say, no, that didn't happen, because everyone has different experiences in this topic.
Yep.
They do.
They
do.
So, no evidence will ever be discounted. No stories will ever be debunked because we weren't there.
That's my fear with the Bigfoot world right now, because if you go, like, let's say you belong to any, and I'm not ruling it out, any Facebook groups on Bigfoot, and I'm Max Powers on Facebook, and I won't answer your friend request because I don't even bother going on there anymore.
I don't even have a Facebook.
Yeah, good for you.
I
Like,
mean,
what did you
Lewis talked me into getting Messenger just so we can video chat.
Mhm.
That's about the extent of it.
Video chatting is key. But there's if you put a picture of Bigfoot up, people will jump all. I have never done that.
I have.
But if you do that, people will jump all over you and tell you a million reasons why I can't. Oh, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. You've never even been in the woods. No, yeah, I have, and I found this.
Right.
So my fear is, and the reason for my post, probably almost a year ago now, where I yelled at some channels out there for not allowing.
I remember that. I remember that.
allowing-
I think I made a comment like, I believe in what you're saying, Max, and I stand shoulder to shoulder with you.
All right, good.
You know what
But
I mean?
I made that comment because by the entire Bigfoot community, boom, blanket spread
right.
to say, or to start picking on people for believing in anything a little above. Now, are we going to talk about Bigfoot flying a UFO into your living room? I don't know about that. I think we should probably hold off a little on that.
I haven't experienced that, but I'm not going to put it past you for a second.
I've seen Bigfoot.
You know what I mean?
I've seen UFOs. I've never seen Bigfoot flying a UFO.
Right.
That's as far as I know.
Right.
But let's say that someone goes out on their own, because right now people have nothing to do and they're going out in the woods and they're, what the heck, I'm going to go look for Bigfoot.
Right.
So let's say they're out there looking. So that mindset, which we already talked about, has, swirled off into the universe, for lack of a better term. They go home and they see the shadow run by them. And no one here, right, on this platform that we use so often, will acknowledge that happened. So these people don't know what it is. They don't know it's connected. They're not going to tell anyone about it. So that means what we are hearing about this is a much smaller percentage than what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So talking about it is key.
Yep.
Right? And that hopefully would add it into more people's research on the subject. And I'm not saying it's even the right thing. I'm not saying this is an answer. I'm not saying it definitely happens. I'm saying if we ignore this, we're missing a huge piece of the equation.
You just need to plant the seed. You plant the seed.
We're missing those parentheses. You know what I mean?
Right. Or the exponent or whatever it is in math, you don't believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's dot our T's, let's cross our I's, let's put it out there because someone else, somewhere else, might have had the same experience.
Let's not attack people for putting it up, because that
exactly.
But if you don't want to watch that video, don't watch it. But attacking that person,
it's not cool.
It's that simple.
I didn't attack you today, Lewis, for putting up a dog band video.
Hey,
I'm scared shitless of that.
And you know what? And then there's
there's
the other spectrum, which I personally experienced a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where someone contacted me and made this whole big story up about being part of the DOI. And then they played the suicide card.
Oh,
and it turns out that he was doing it all for a prank show.
It's ridiculous.
But I caught on to him and I called him out and I said, "You're not gonna play me like this." And he came clean and he said, "Yeah, it was all for a prank show." You know what I mean? So
that's crazy.
You got to be smarter than the average bear to be in this topic, because people will prey on you.
People will prey on you, but there's the other side to that coin, because there are also people out there who visit your campsite in a navy blue Ford Explorer with government plates and delete whatever it was from your phone.
Right, exactly.
And like, so that's one reason I think we're on to something here.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yes, there are the whack jobs. There are people every day, like if you put a video up, who say, "Oh, I saw 5 Bigfoots in your video." I have no issue with that. Because what we touched on earlier, where what happens to our mind when we know they're there, it's entirely possible they're just on a different plane.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Like your plane of existence, Lewis, where you don't want to see them. And your plane of existence where you are like, "Yeah, baby, bring it on. I got a case
Let's
of beer."
do this. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Those are two different things.
Right.
But to someone watching your video, they may be totally in tune to these things. So for you to say,
You don't see this.
"Oh, you
that would
can't
be
see
wrong.
Bigfoot. There's no Bigfoot in that." But here's the thing: if you look at those videos and they usually give you a timestamp, there's usually something.
There's something going on, right?
Or there's always something there. And are you just not seeing it? So have you not expanded your consciousness enough? I don't know what the heck that is, but boy, oh boy.
Right. We all see things differently. We all have a different mindset. We all have different capabilities within that mindset.
Yep.
And we all see things that other people don't.
No.
Like perfect example, I put a video out there. When the one I got growled at, I heard the growl, but I didn't see the one on the left of me looking at me from the bushes, literally 8 feet away from me. And as I'm filming, looking at my screen, I'm filming one staring at me, and I do a growl impression, and that ducks. It moves down below the bushes and slowly comes back up. I didn't see it. And I'm filming that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it until freaking Bronzini Bigfoot sent me the email of the screenshot saying, "Holy crap." And he sent me, all he sent me was the picture, the screenshot. No tag, no label, no nothing. And I sent him back, "That's a cool picture. Where'd that come from?" And he's all, "Your video." And my jaw dropped. And he sent me a more wide picture and a more wider picture and circled it. And I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" He's all, "Nope, that's your video." And I was dumbfounded at that point. I was like, "You got to be kidding me." And I watched the video over and over. And since he sent me the screenshot, he's right there. He's right there. He's right every time. And then I start seeing the one that growled at me and ran back 60 feet, which, by the way, slopes down on that hill. And he's eye level with me. But it must have been 8 feet tall. Easy. I didn't see it duck until Brandon brought up the screenshot, and I started looking at my videos closer. And I do my growl impression. I freaked it out. It ducked. And
oops. I want me to zoom it in.
It came back up. Yeah. I mean, come on.
See the lips?
Lips, the nose, the eyes, the sloped head. I actually have a clear picture where it's brightened up and it's clarified.
Yeah,
I need to send Lewis, but
yeah. Swallow your head.
That's the one that Bronzini found in my video, and I had no idea, no expectations that they were out there, literally on the bush line, watching people. Hundreds of people walk by daily.
Well, yeah, that's what they do.
With no incident, no missing people, no missing animals, no noises. They're studying us as we are studying them.
Well, that's the mind thing, the curiosity. I hope it's not their downfall, but I worry about.
And I think Bronzini's here in the chat tonight.
Do you know what? Wow. Everybody refers to Bronzini. I've never watched a video of his. I've got to go check him out.
You got to go check him out. You know, I mean, he's a Colorado Bigfoot follower. But I mean, at the same point, Colorado Bigfoot's onto something too. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to discredit anything that Brandon has, and he gets some crazy stuff where it's like, dude, they were right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did a video on Colorado Bigfoot, and I took it down because I don't know if this is like the universe. I don't know what it is. But I was convinced that all these quote unquote universes that he sees he's in a lodgepole pine forest most of the time. I was convinced that they were forest fire damage. And I still think a lot of what he sees is. And so then probably 2 weeks later, I am out in New Hampshire and Vermont. At that point, I think I might have been in Vermont. And I'm walking through the woods. And I walk into a Bigfoot universe. You know what? It's Vermont. Everything's smaller. It's probably more like a galaxy. Even our Bigfoots are shorter. They're not 12 feet. They're like 7 or 9.
Right.
So I'm out there and I'm looking around. And I'm like, oh, this is my chance. You know, I can prove them wrong. I'm swearing about it in my head. This SOB, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't find one scorch mark on a tree. I mean, trees that were just like bent almost in a circle, things like that, which I figured heat would do that, you know? And given lodgepole pines where he is, in order for pine cones to open, they need heat just to break that sap, you know, holding the pine cone shut. No, I found that last summer, probably 5 different Bigfoot universes. They weren't universes. We'll call them galaxies because it's Vermont, New Hampshire, much smaller. Shorter mountains, shorter Bigfoot, shorter trees. So Bigfoot galaxies. I never found one. Never found one scorch mark. The other thing I did was because the mountains in New Hampshire, you can't. There's cell phone signals are awful.
Right.
I marked every single one of them on Google Maps. Right?
And then you start to find.
Before I left, dropped a pin right there. Do you think I can find another one of those damn Bigfoot galaxies, universes, whatever you want to call them? No, because that map is wrong now, and I don't know how it's wrong. But you were talking on your video the other day about missing video. I'm missing video. I can't find a darn thing. Something's going on with that. Is that paranormal?
Could be. I don't know, but this whole 5G thing going on, there's no telling when it comes to cell phones. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother story in itself.
It is.
You know what I mean? But I mean, there's a lot more to it than what people think. You know what I mean? Definitely go check out Ken King and Into the Veil. Absolutely incredible. They're great friends of mine. Lewis is a great friend of mine. Brandon is a great friend of mine. Brandon's actually come up here, and I've been out with him in my area. You know? And that was the first time where I actually got to go past the bush line because I had people with me, you know? And Lori is a wonderful girl. She's a freaking monkey. You know, she loves to climb trees and stuff like that. So, and she's tiny. So if we couldn't get through there, Lori, get in there. Go see what's on the other side. She's like, okay. Climbing under bushes and all kinds of stuff, you know? And they're great people, you know? I mean, Brandon knows what he's talking about. You know, Colorado Bigfoot knows what he's talking about, you know? And in Sasquatch, Ontario, Mike Patterson. I'm not going to discredit him. I know he's very controversial right now.
Do you think it was Sasquatch, Ontario, who had a childhood friend that was Bigfoot? Just sorry, random question.
No, I absolutely do. I mean, we've talked about the whole, you know, imaginary friend thing.
Like rang a bell there.
You know, I mean, and I've been looking into this whole like quantum theory stuff and kind of learning about that. And basically what I hear about DARPA and CERN and these government things and stuff, I know, huh? Just, they're messing with stuff they shouldn't be messing with. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Are we? Because I sent you an email. I talked to you about, did I talk to you about the navy blue Ford Explorer?
Yeah. I
have certain fears about that.
Absolutely. Imagine a stack of pancakes, 12 high. Each pancake is a different dimension. Okay, and that's how it should be. But because of what they're messing with and what they're trying to do, now take your hands and smash that stack of pancakes down. which is why our veils are thinning. You know what I mean?
I do.
And I definitely think that government agencies definitely monitor YouTube and certain topics.
Mhm.
And they use those channels to find locations and find people interested in that topic.
Which is why I sent you pictures, and we
Right.
don't need to put them up, but I sent
No.
you pictures, and that's why I wiped the metadata from them. That's why there's all these screenshot things and all that, because I
Right.
really think that when we put that out there,
We're being tracked.
we're being tracked.
We're being tracked. We're being watched.
A friend of mine in Florida, we won't mention any names, applied to a government agency to just to have a group of Bigfooters go out into a locked area legally.
Right.
So applied to get basically a gated road unlocked and to have
Right.
permission for a small group of people to camp.
Sounds fun.
And they asked him why, and he told them truthfully. He's like, "Hey, listen, I've got a channel, and I
He put it
researched
out there.
Bigfoot.
Mhm.
And do you know what happened next?
His
The
computer
state of
got
Florida did
freaking
backburning all over that swamp.
interesting.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh, we better clean up the evidence.
Yep.
Exactly. Are
Yeah.
they out here? Let's take care of it now.
Yep.
Is it to keep Bigfoots out, or is it to keep the people who wanted to go in and look out? I don't know. But
Right.
Wow.
Either way, it's being covered up to great
Yeah.
lengths.
Yeah.
Absolutely great lengths to cover it up.
Yep.
You know, I mean,
I do. I think Lewis is being followed. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Actually, the first I've been going up to my area for, geez,
the Black
month
Crown
now. The Black Crown Vic.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Now, I did say that somebody could have bought it at auction, but
Entirely
when
possible.
you buy those cars at auction, they do not have the lights on them. They do not have the push bars. They do not have the computer racks. They do not have the dividers between the front and the back. They do not have the plastic seats. They do not have the gun rack standing up in between both seats. All of it was still in it.
All you have to do is look at the black license plate and see if the tags are on it, right?
No,
Because it would be
Didn't have
covered in the car,
it didn't have a plate on it.
not in the back.
Not on the back.
Oh,
It was sitting there with no plates.
well, that's an unmarked car, man.
I did not video that because that kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
So just for the record, don't film on your cell phone. Leave your cell phone in the car.
That's the only thing I film on.
Me too.
Do you have a second cell phone?
Turn your
Go out and
Wi-Fi
get a new
off. huh?
contract with a new phone. Leave the phone.
I do have an old cell phone, my G5, that still works,
Dude,
but there's no
film-
service on it.
honest to God, I'd film on that. So
Yeah.
when I go to New Hampshire and I film, this is a bizarre thing that happens, and I get missing video.
Yeah. I read
See,
visiting
big
video
things
last
happen when I
week.
do that.
Yeah.
My cell phone jumps networks to this thing called I don't know if it's US Net or US Cell or something like that. Cell phones don't do that because you've got a SIM card in there.
Right.
And that is where I lose information. So the day I told you about where a gentleman came to my campsite and was like, "Hey, can I see that picture?" Sure, no problem. Handed him my phone. All my photos were gone. When I got the phone back and realized, geez, I haven't talked to anyone in like a day and a half, it was on a different network. It was on something called that, whatever it is, US Net, US Cell. And all those pictures were gone. Luckily, I had emailed them to myself. But, so listen, don't use your cell phone to film this shit, because that, I swear to God, drops a pin to someone who's either going to come and wipe them out or put a tail on you.
So-
And that makes me sound like some kind of nut.
Yeah, I don't have signal out there. I can't call and I can't get internet. So it's like I'm totally
Neither can I. Neither
Yeah.
can
So
Now I
yeah,
get
it
signal when I
depends
get
on what side of the mountain, where I am, yada yada
Yeah.
yada.
I. Mine is spotty.
Yeah.
Mine's not
If I
spotted,
get
no.
up tall, I can probably get a signal if I go
Our
to a
mountains are
certain
very
area.
short out here.
Right. But here's the doozy. Not only was that Black Crown Vic out there, which I've never seen before, which was very suspicious, that I parked directly in front of.
Of course.
There was a drone out there that I've never seen anybody fly a drone up there, and this wasn't a normal drone. This is a big drone. This is a big, expensive,
government drone.
$5 drone. And the person flying it was very skilled at doing so because they were not wobbling, they weren't going up and down. And normally you get an unskilled drone, you get a little bit of this, you know what I mean, or a little bit of this. Nope, and he'd stop and hover, he'd turn, he'd go a different direction, almost like it was gridding an area. So, two things that I've never seen up there that struck me as odd. I got them both on video. And I don't know. I know we're being tracked. I know we're being followed. I know our channels are being monitored just because of the topic.
Yeah, nothing
Right.
about that.
Our counts are off. Do you go on your channel and you find that one day you have 638 subscribers and the next day you have 422 and no one unsubscribes? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'll go on and stuff, and all of a sudden I got 10 new subscribers, but I didn't get notification for any of them.
Right.
Well,
that's not a bad thing. New subscribers. Mine are like I'll get notification, congratulations, and I'll go on and be like, yeah, I don't know where they are for that. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So,
there's some weird stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So,
All right, so you want me to get into my thing real quick? And
Max, I think
we.
we need you back for a part 2.
Yeah.
Well, first you have to have Sasquatch Omega because he was friggin' awesome.
He's already rescheduled. He's already rescheduled
Yeah,
for part 2.
I've never heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
He's
Back. And actually, I'm going to be hooking up with him very soon. I'm going to be going out to his area because he's very local to me. He's like a 45-minute drive from my house. So,
and we got a couple of other people on.
Yeah. And then we want to get this whole camping thing going on with Bronzini and his girlfriend, Lori, Sasquatch Omega. We got a friend named Mike that wants to come out.
Do you have a date? Because I'm a mobile squatcher.
Right. No, we don't have a date yet, but
I went all the way
me and
down
Lewis
to
have been
Florida
tossing around the conversation because we do have an area. Yeah. We have an area that's not a problem. We need to figure out a date. We just need to nail a date and then send the email out. So I will send you an email when it'll be like a month or maybe 2 months ahead of schedule, so people have time to prepare.
Drive, but
yeah, we want to be able to get people to set it up with their jobs or their schedules and give them plenty of time to get it set up. So there will definitely be enough time.
Like seriously, send me an email because the Bigfoot did that, and they sent me an email. I was on a mountainside. I'm like, yeah, I'll come. Chris is like, where are you? I'm like, I'm on the side of a mountain.
On the side of a mountain somewhere, Cape Cod. So I don't know, but I'll be there.
I think our tallest hill is like 300 feet here. I was in New Hampshire at the time. So.
Yeah. So Lewis, let's get into your stuff and Max, if you hang out with us and listen to this, and
if I can, if that's all right with you.
Davis too. We're going to get MK Davis and who? Tom
Control.
Yeah. Next.
Yeah.
Those are 2 new people.
Well, our next guest next Sunday is Rachel King.
Oh yeah,
into the Vale. So the channel I suggested to you.
I have to catch up.
Yeah, go back to our other podcast because we've had them both on twice already, and they're absolutely incredible people. And I talk with Ken almost daily, through text or a phone call or whatever, and they've got some special abilities that may be utilized in all of this. So,
can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to turn it up here a little bit. Okay, this I'm going to run down the story real quick. Me and my sister went out and we did a research in my area. She didn't really believe in it, my younger sister. And then while we were there, we had eye shine on the top of the mountain, and it was moving back and forth, up and down, and she was tripping on that. And then while we're on the bridge, we heard something walking up in the vegetation. It stopped and it wouldn't move. And then, she watched a lot of crime scene movies, so she was paranoid that somebody might stop and try to kill us. So we were hiding from cars more than Bigfoot. I feel like I was Bigfoot, hiding from us. So I was like, we got to stop doing this. I can't hide from every car, So we stand by the car and behind it because the road was in front of us. And she heard something underneath the bridge. So I'm just kind of painting a picture. There's a gate. There's the river down there, and there's the bridge going across. And it's right in front of the car, and there's a mountain on the left. So we're just in a little area. On the left side of this little area by the gate, there's a service road there. I hid my recorder behind there in a plastic Ziploc bag before I left. So when I pulled out, you can hear the car pulling out on the recorder. As soon as we left, they ran up and got to the recorder and messing with it for 6 hours. No known animal is going to sit there for 6 hours and mess with a Ziploc bag without even destroying the bag. It didn't touch the bag. It didn't move the bag. It's still there. But the Bigfoot was sitting there for 6 hours jacking around. You can hear him get up a couple times, but there's something, the sound that it left on there that can help people find Bigfoot, what's there, by hearing the noise, because I've actually heard it on the trail to Bigfoot when that guy came out there and was doing the thing, what do you call it, Kevin? That guy that goes out there, there's a name for it. But he goes out there and he feels the spirit and he goes, okay, they're over.
Empath.
Yeah. Okay, he went out and did that, and then when he was walking away and he went, whoa, and then it made that noise, the same noise that's on my recorder now. It go and then before that it made that noise. So it's a noise that makes to let another one know or something like that. But I've been here in my area too. I just never knew what it was. But I'm gonna share it with you guys now so you guys can hear it. So let's see. Let me go back a little bit. Okay. It's going to take a little bit here, a couple seconds. You hear him going, and he's all, brrr. Well, that's the noise that I was referring to. What the heck? It didn't stop.
It almost sounds like a woodpecker.
Almost, but it's not.
But it sounds like wood on wood.
Almost.
You know what I mean?
I think it's his teeth clacking, but I'm not sure. I don't know how they do it, but I've heard it many times. And woodpeckers are not out at nighttime jacking around on wood, especially there's no tree right there. There's a tree on the other side, but this was right on my recorder. Like he was on one side of the iron gate, and he's sitting there reaching through and jacking around for 6 hours. Woodpecker's not going to sit there for 6 hours. And only did that one
tree
time.
Trunk, maybe, but
they only did it one time. That one time, that was it.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can, when you go through your area, just be open. Listen for that, because I think they use it as a warning sign, maybe like to let others know, because it's not a wood knock. It's not a vocalization, like whoop, or a whistle letting the other ones know.
Yeah, Ken King is on here saying we've heard that drumming behind the house as well, 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And later.
Now
again,
we know.
So again, you got Lewis in California, you've got Ken King on the other side of the United States, and they've heard,
and also in
the
Florida.
same thing
in Florida.
Yeah. So
it's we have to look at our own evidence, but you really have to look at it whether other people are getting. Talk to those people who are getting similar evidence. Find out, ask questions. Find out, because this is how we're going to do it.
Exactly.
We're not going to get another. The reason we don't have cell phone evidence is because of those grainy photos I sent you. Do you know what I mean? If you sit there with a cell phone and take a photo and then zoom it in on your computer, it's pixelized. If you sit there on your phone and zoom into a photo and take it, it's just fuzzy. It's foggy. You can't tell what it is. So more people than ever have photos and video of lousy fucking photography. Excuse me. Pardon my language.
You know what? Remember about the imaginary friend? Everybody has pictures of Mr. Puff.
Exactly.
He looked fuzzy. Like he was vibrating at such a high frequency, camera couldn't focus on it. So you get that blob squatch.
But it's got, honestly, even without the vibration, you just on the equipment that the average person carries, you can't. The best pictures that I've seen are still fuzzy, and they're taken with an IMAX camera.
Right. Yeah. You're talking a $40,000 camera. Yeah, you're talking a $40,000 camera.
That around. They just happen to catch something that may or may not be a large furry bipedal creature on their camera. But the best camera in the world couldn't capture it.
Well, I was telling my sister, she says, why isn't there a picture of a Bigfoot? There is pictures of Bigfoot. It's all about education. I named off all these videos. There is, good ones, but she's also, what about pictures? And I go, well, look at this way. Okay, they got you go in the woods, and a Bigfoot walks in front of you. Your phone's in your pocket. If it stops and looks at you, well, what all that Bigfoot has experienced is boom, boom, boom. So when you reach in your pocket, that Bigfoot's gonna freaking growl or take off or something. And anyway, you're gonna be scared anyway to grab that phone. You're not gonna think about grabbing that phone. And if you did have the camera out, the Bigfoot walks as fast as we run. So our cell phones are not set up for that kind of motion.
But I think you're right. A part of that you mentioned is one of the things. These are observant creatures. And they know who we are. They know what we do. They know we take things out of our pockets and shoot people or shoot beings.
Yeah.
And you reach in your pocket, pull something out and point it at them. They're not really going to stick around to find out what that is. They're not going to smile for the camera.
Right.
They think it's a
gun. They're not going to strike a pose.
Yeah.
They have learned that if we point something at them, it's probably not good.
It follows
exactly.
Out. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
what was it? Ken King, we're all guilty of skipping the user manuals on our equipment.
Guys are always like that.
And then drift list right above and says comes down to equipment, and it goes hand in hand. We're all guilty of skipping the user manual. It's like, I'm not reading that. I'll figure it out. Toss that behind us.
That's one of the few things I have ever disagreed with Driftless on.
Yeah.
Like on it, I swear to God, pictures of a Bigfoot on an IMAX camera, best camera in the world. You can't
Right.
get better than that.
Right.
Right.
And they're still blob squatches.
Right.
Blob
And you know the
squatches.
thing is,
Yep.
they have the most expensive cameras in the world, and they have perfect shots of sharks, monkeys, all these other things, but Bigfoot they'll never can because it's moving faster. Much
It's
faster.
yeah. It's
There's
moving too fast.
Michigan Sasquatch says they use microwaves. Some people say infrasound. I think they're on a different vibrational plane than we are.
That's what I think too. I think their
Well, they have
vibration
more.
and their frequency is too high.
Mhm.
You know, for the camera to pick it up. I think it distorts the camera
There are
lens.
lots of excuses. None
Yeah.
of us know a damn thing, really. Though.
Right. Well, there's lots of not so much excuses, but there's a lot of theories.
There's a lot of theory.
There's a lot
They're
of
not
theories.
even theory. There are a lot of hypotheses.
There you go. We haven't even gotten into the theory part. We're stuck in the hypothesis, right? Yeah. So let's
Melba
call it
Ketchum.
hypothesis, right?
I'll go with her on theory, but I won't go
Yeah.
with her on how she presented her paper. Other than that,
Well, I think there was outside influence on how she needed to,
how are you going to get peers to even the two biggest doctors out there? Not Melba Ketchum, Jeff Meldrum. Excuse me,
Right,
I combined their two
Meldrum.
names.
Yeah.
And who's the other guy? Geneticist with the mohawk. Sometimes.
Oh, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. I can't think of his name.
Neither of those would look at
Ton-
it. Neither of those are saying anything about it because they'll lose funding. That's it's all about money.
It's all about money. Yep. And the same thing with the government too. It's all about money. I mean, if they come out and say, "Yeah, these things do exist. Yes, they do live in the forest," and then of course, human nature is to protest, and then you're going to lose out on many multi-billion-dollar industries such as logging, camping, boating, fishing, hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to miss out on all of these industries because no one's going to want to go out in the woods anymore.
Yep.
And then you're going to have these protests out there and stuff saying, well, they deserve human rights and they deserve this. And it's just going to make a bigger funsko out of everything else.
Well, this far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like they don't need our protecting.
Right.
They're doing just fine by themselves, just the way they are.
Right.
And I know for a fact that logging companies actually send people out into areas that they're going to log to tell the logging company if, yes, it is inhabited by these beings.
Yeah.
Before they go in there logging. So,
see, reports like that are hard to come by. I've got this guy who I call Jack when we talk about it.
Yeah.
That's not his name.
Right.
He's a former forestry worker. An Algonquin Indian. Is he? You know what? He may be Abenaki. I may confuse the two. I apologize to any Native Americans out there who get offended by that. But this guy will tell me, he gives me briefings on, because we've become friends, and I just call him and check in.
Right.
But he gives me these briefings on these kind of things, where these things might be, town dumps with reportings, things like that. And I forget where I was going with this, but I'm sure it was important to what you just said.
Also, just to give you guys I can't talk with this two bugs in my ear. Can't hear myself talking. To recognize I was talking to Kevin about it because I didn't really think about it before, but when I flew my drone last couple days ago, the area that I go at, there's no deer trails, none. But the place that I go on the other side, in the middle, there's a ton of deer trails. So it's kind of strange to me that, well, it's not strange. It's actually an eye opener because it's like, why didn't I think of that sooner? Because they go hunt right down there and then they live here, but the deer won't go where they live.
Right.
So if you find a place there's no deer trails and you know it's supposed to be deer, or you've seen them somewhere else but not there, I think it's a good validation that there's probably Bigfoot staying there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
I've got a new place I found on Google Earth. And a lot of those things it's dark.
Yeah.
You can't see trails leading in.
Yeah.
Right now, in thick brush, you can't see the game trails at all anyway.
Right.
But this particular one, you can't see any game trails even leading in.
Yeah.
So if you're not
that's a
seeing
good
game
sign.
trails leading in, why aren't they
fine.
going there?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're going into the pot.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
one thing
exactly.
I've noticed about northern Idaho and stuff is the first time I went out there, we were surrounded by freaking coyotes howling all around us all night long. The whole time we were out there for 2 weeks. The next time we go out there, for about 3 or 4 days, you'd hear the coyotes. And then I had my sighting in my father-in-law's backyard. And ever since then, no coyotes.
So did you like how far? Like one night you heard coyotes, the next night you heard something else, and boom.
The next night I saw something.
All right.
Because I'd go out and stuff and I'd take my flashlight. I mean, this is all, the first time I had ever, been out and doing field research.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my flashlight and I'm scanning around and I get just to the right side of the barn and there's a tree that goes like this. And I see eye shine and it looked like freaking light bulbs, but it didn't emit light to light up the surrounding area. It was like eye shine. And dude, what is that? And I held the flashlight there and it went like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was trying to shield its eyes from my flashlight without taking its eyes off of me.
Off of you. So yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Listen, if you look over even BFRO reports, you'll hear about they put their arm up to shield their eyes.
Yep.
I'm
That's
not a big
exactly
fan of the
what
BFRO, but it's a great source for
Right.
It's
evidence.
exactly what it did. And I sitting there it froze like a deer. It wouldn't move. And I could see this thing sticking
Well, they
out.
don't want to move because if you see a shadow and it zips away, you know something was there.
Right.
If you see a shadow and it stays still, you're like, what the heck is that thing over there?
Right. But I could see this thing protruding from both sides of this V'd tree. And I sitting there with the flashlight on it, froze like a deer. And I remembered I had my night vision. I grabbed my night vision with one hand, I had my flashlight in the other, and clicked it on. And that's when I could see the whole silhouette of it.
You
And
don't like to see that alone in the woods.
Where I was able to see the little branch sticking out from the tree of where its eyes were.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and measured that, and its eyes were at 8 feet tall. Now, I was smart enough to think, okay, I started to get this feeling. I need to let this thing go because something bad is about to happen. That was the feeling I was getting. So I turned the flashlight off without turning the night vision off. And as soon as I turned that flashlight off, poof, up the trail. Poof, like a streak of shadow. Woof, gone up the trail.
Did you hear
I heard the neighbor's dogs barking, and I heard a branch break. Now, there was a log going across the trail with a branch coming up over it.
Okay.
I remember it because I remember walking up on it going, oh, I should break this branch off so it's easier for me to pass through. And I'm going, and for some reason, something told me not to. I'm going, you know what? I'm going to leave it. And I walked around it. I left that branch up. And I went back that morning, and that branch was the one that was broken. Now, after that branch break, about 3 or 4 seconds later, a single shotgun blast. So the trail goes up and it hooks to the left. I heard the dogs bark when it made the turn. I heard the branch break, and then in a straight line, I heard a single shotgun blast. All in the way of the trail, the direction of the trail. Now, I think the shotgun blast, I've come to find out that people in northern Idaho are kind of weird about the topic because, I wear shirts and stuff, and I was wearing a sweatshirt with Bigfoot on it, and we were at the local store, and the cashier was like, I like your shirt. I'm all, yeah, you got any stories? And she just shut up. She clammed up. She wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
She just started scanning faster.
Right.
Get me out of there. They know about them. They're not going to talk about it, though. It's almost like they know that they're just gonna coexist with them. It's just a fact of life up there, you know, and they're not gonna talk about it. So it's a weird place, but I mean, I've seen the streaks out of the corners of my eyes. Even the landscaper I was working with up there, he saw him. He even stopped the tractor. He's like, hey, every once in a while, the corner of my eye, I see this black thing just dart off through the tree line. I'm going, yeah, it's him. He's like, really? And again, he knew what I was talking about, but he wasn't going to say that word. You know what I mean? He wasn't going to say that 7-letter word that it starts with B and ends with T. So he wasn't going to do it. But he knew what I was talking about.
No.
This Driftless, I think he's the only guy out there that actually has a Bob Gibman sketch done of himself.
Right.
That's awesome.
Well, bring that question back up, Lewis. Did he have a shotgun at ready, do you think? And I do think he had that shotgun ready. I think this guy, the person that put that pot shot off, knew what was going on. I think he's had issues with them before at his house. And I think he was sitting on his back porch ready for him. I think the guy does it every night. He sits on the back porch with his shotgun loaded.
Get more confidence than I do, because
it was at 10 o'clock at night. It was at 10 o'clock at night. And people don't shoot guns that late. So he knew. I mean, he's had issues. He knew it was going on. And he saw one probably bolt across his freaking property in the back and just, boom, took a pot shot. I mean, he probably wasn't aiming at it, but he wanted that sound.
If there are any hunters watching, I would recommend bigger than a 308. Is there?
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
That's what I've heard too. And not only that, but I would recommend having a group of friends and plenty.
Yeah, and multiple 308s.
Yeah. I've seen these things. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you're just it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. So I think he's sitting on his porch. He saw the thing run across, and he probably had it up in the air, and he just boom, just to scare.
Maybe just to scare him away from Scott, let him know that he's got a weapon.
Exactly. So it leads me to think that he's had issues and he's seen what's out there. Mm-hmm. But what are you going to do? I mean, that was my experience, but I mean, that is what really, really got me into it and stuff. So, I mean, it just to see that. I mean, I did a whole measurement. I measured to the stick, which was at 8 feet, which means it was probably 6 inches taller from its forehead. So 8'6". You know what I mean? I measured across the trees, and from where I could estimate its shoulders were, it was about 1.5 feet wider than the 3-foot V of the tree. So it was probably 4.5 feet wide at the shoulders. And when I saw that thing take off, it was almost like a Simpsons cartoon when Homer takes off after donuts and all you see is just the dust shadow left. And he just disappeared. It was just poof, gone.
If you had to estimate a speed,
I would say 0 to 50 in the matter of half a second. Okay. 0 to 50 in half a second. I mean, it went from still to a streak.
Lewis, you have to be nicer to these things out there because they're
I'm nice. I feel where I'm supposed to be. I don't get in. I don't know. I don't get my evidence, man. That's
it. You know that Lewis
smile for the camera. Leave it alone.
I just film and.
You know that Lewis strobed one in the eyes one time and it threw a log at him, right?
Yeah, one ran past me and the other one threw. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was that day. I'm out.
No, but now I don't need to use the flashlight. I bought a FLIR from my
Wow,
wonderful
dude.
partner here. Yeah.
I don't have that kind of equipment. You know.
I got
I gave him a
lucky.
good
I
deal.
got lucky. So
gave him a
I
good deal.
got a great deal. So you know,
Half
and
off.
of course, yeah, and of course and stuff. If he ever wanted to use it, I could just mail it to him. Not a problem. So you know, he knows he has access to it at any time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't need to use a freaking flashlight anymore, which is good. You know.
You
Yeah,
know,
but-
here's my fear of flashlights. Like when I'm out camping, which I do a lot, alone in the woods, I don't even open the flaps. I
Right.
don't want to see these things like that close to me. Do you know what I mean? When they start knocking on the side of the tent, yeah, no thank you. I pretend to snore. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? The last time I went to Idaho was pretty monumental. I mean, the whole time that once I realized they were up there, I've gotten the sense and the feeling that they're curious and fun and playful. They're pranksters. That was, you know, I never got an aggressive feeling. I never got a threatened feeling or anything like that. And this last time we were up there, so we're asleep, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I hear on the window. Okay. Now,
I wouldn't look at
I
it.
wake, I mean, I shot up. I mean, after the first, I shot up and I heard the other three. Now, I mean, I've got my glasses off. My phone is 20 feet away from me on the charger. So I'm trying to find my glasses. I'm trying to get to my phone. And by the time I got there, it must have been 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was gone.
Hmm.
So I run out there, and my wife is going, "What is going on? What are you doing?" And well, something tapped on the window, like hard, like dong, 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 like 4 times. And so I didn't hear nothing. And I'm going, "You were asleep. I woke up and you were still snoring." So, you know,
go back
I
there,
mean,
but it snores now.
so, okay, whatever. It's gone. I didn't even get a flashlight. I didn't look around. I just went back to bed. And at 7 o'clock, I woke up and I'm standing outside that particular door that I went out that earlier, and I'm drinking my coffee. And I look to my left. I went, "Oh yeah, the tapping on the window." And I look, and there's big finger streaks
Oh man.
down the window.
So, did you try to wash that off? That stuff does
won't
not
come off. Yeah, don't come off.
And
It's
then,
weird.
well, on the door window, what looked to be like greasy, smudgy marks from something furry. So I think it was it was
had his
was
head right up
looking
there.
in the window, and then went over to was looking in the door window, because there's no door, there's no blinds, there's no nothing. It's just open window. It's just open to nature, you know. There's no curtains, no nothing. Went over there and went dong dong dong, because we had the TV on. So I think, you know, it was like dong dong dong. Now here's the kicker. Now, me and my wife have this dog named Monkey. He's a Brussels Griffin. We've had him for like 13 years. Not one day in his life, in any of these trips or anything before, even at home, has he ever slept in bed with us all the way. I mean, he'll lay on the bed with us, but once we start falling asleep, he wants off and he wants to get in his own bed, because I have a tendency to roll over and kick animals subconsciously, you know. And so he figured out very early on, you know, I'll just sleep in my own bed. Not once has he ever slept in a bed with us overnight. After that morning of the tapping of the window, he insisted on sleeping right in between me and my wife until we left.
Man.
Once we left Idaho and got to the hotel in Oregon, he was right back in his own bed. He saw what was tapping on the window.
He probably did. Yeah.
Right. Saw what was tapping on the window. So, but I measured the finger streaks. So if you take from here to here, was 9 inches across. Each finger was 3/4 of an inch to an inch wide. And it looked like it tried to open the window. like it tried to slide the window, but he was sliding it the wrong way. The window opened the other way, but it looked like he was trying to slide the window open.
He's probably seen it done.
Yeah, but he went the wrong way with it. It was absolutely. I mean, it's all documented on my Idaho channel, but it kind of creeped my wife out, and I was smiling ear to ear, going, "Yeah, cool."
It's cool, but yeah,
it's creepy. It's scary at the same time.
Like,
you know,
I'm a woods camper. I'm no problem going as far as I can and camping alone. Lately, I'm scared to do that.
Yeah,
I think they're telling you that too.
There's a little bit of that. I'm not getting the like mind speak that I used to get, but which sounds like your parents watching Carson in the next room. Like as a little kid, you know what I mean?
Right.
You were trying to sleep, and your parents were watching Johnny Carson because they had a TV in the room. You didn't.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. And then all of a sudden, you get the full concept. Boom. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I don't get that anymore, and I don't want it. But I'm scared. I'm scared camping.
You should go out there, just like go out during the day where it's almost gonna get dark, and just hang out for a little while till it gets darker, and then leave, and just keep doing it. You'll start getting more comfortable with the area, and they'll get comfortable with you coming around, and maybe it'll just stop because I think you're just being away enough. Because when I went back after not going for 6 months, I had butterflies in my stomach. But once I got there,
did you get activity, and did you get familiar activity after? Because I swear to God, we send off some kind of signal, and that's what I'm asking. Did you feel like this is the same kind of stuff I get? This may be the same.
Well, I went back to Eyeshine. The Bigfoot's on the mountain right there watching us, and then there was another one down below us, and another one under the bridge, and we're in a spot where it can fit probably a car and a half, side by side, and that's where that Bigfoot was sitting right next to me, and I never knew it. And I could have walked over there and just looked down, and I would have saw him. But because they know my boundaries, and I respect theirs, and they know it. So
there's something to that.
Yeah.
If you set boundaries.
Yeah,
they tend not to overstep.
Right. Yeah. During the daytime, it's free game. You can go down there and mess around. But at nighttime, it's their area. They want that.
You go home now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, you can stay there, but don't go down there.
Kid.
Yeah, it's like this last time out in my area and stuff, and it speaking of boundaries, I think last week when I went out, I made a comment out loud to the camera. I would love to get back there just to see what I find, but I don't want to overstep my bounds. You know what I mean? I think they heard that.
They let you know.
Yeah, they built it up. They built it up more. So I can't. It was a lot thinner last week. This week, there was a lot more foliage, almost like a barricade. Like they heard me, they understood me, and they're gonna take precautions.
Yeah, we talked about that with pulling bushes in and.
Yeah, exactly.
Not on here, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, similar situation. You know what I mean? A whole continent apart. So,
True.
Well, you know what, Max? We are over 2 hours now, man.
Yeah, I kind of had to talk.
No, we don't.
Like videos I put out that are supposed to be a minute long end up like 20 minutes. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
That's great. We love it, and we would love to have you back on. So
anytime, you just let me know.
I will email you, and I will give you the next open date, and we'll get you scheduled in.
All right. Well, we'll answer Deborah Flello's other 10 questions.
Yeah, I know. I think we only made it through 2 and got it off topic, didn't we? So
that's all right.
But yeah, everybody, thank you for joining us. Max, thank you for joining us.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely
anytime,
wonderful.
Like
I said, I've been waiting for this day for many years.
Listen, I will come out and join either of you in your areas
Come on down if you want
Well,
to see one.
We're
Go
gonna
for
get
it.
it done as soon as we get a date set and we send out those emails. You are on that list.
I
And we're gonna-
have a medical treatment at the end of September, and after that, I'm free for 6 months. So
Whoa.
Okay, all right. I will
I'll
keep
even
that.
wear
in
a
mind.
mask.
Oh, one thing too, I just wanted to bring up to everybody. When you're out in the woods, you're walking around pretty much barefoot almost all the time, huh?
I walk around barefoot, and there are a lot of barefoot hikers.
Right.
Another Bigfooter in New England is Michael Merchant, who is a barefoot hiker and a barefoot Bigfooter, and he goes through the woods. If you knew how rocky the woods of New England can be,
Oh yeah.
it's not something you want to do.
Right.
But because of my MS,
Right.
I have trouble with feet, with shoes or boots or hike, whatever, that have padding in them. So if I'm hiking in a boot, I can't properly feel the ground under me, and I can't get my balance. If I take those boots off, I can walk barefoot through the woods, and it's a little uncomfortable, but I don't trip and I don't fall. So yes, I hike through the woods of New England. I climb mountains barefoot. I have been 4,000 feet in the air with no shoes on granite and quartz and whatever else is out there.
Right. So
Hey,
there you go, people.
that would hurt.
Barefoot hiker right there.
So
Getting it done,
I
feeling
got
the
a
earth.
comment on one of my channels that told me that Bigfoot can smell the soles of your shoes, the rubbers in the soles of your shoes,
I
and that's
don't
why
doubt
you
it.
have such success. I don't know if
I
that's
don't
true,
doubt it.
but
I
I
don't
think that's how
doubt it.
dogs do. They track you.
I heard a tidbit of information about dogs that in a 10-foot by 10-foot square area, a dog can sniff over 100,000 different smells.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Crazy.
and if they're that more advanced, who knows? I mean, they could probably sniff whatever the heck they want.
And
Yeah.
they do a lot of that
Yeah.
sniffing too.
So, yeah, and Lewis's sister is witness to that sniffing. So,
Yeah, my younger sister, yeah.
yep.
He sniffed her
So-
right there, and she was right in front of her. He went.
and did she see him doing this? She could hear him
No.
doing this.
He was right in front of her behind
I'll
a
shut
tree.
up now because we'll be here for an hour.
Right behind the tree. Yeah. Go to my video. It says Bigfoot goodies
Okay.
on
Yeah.
North County Bigfoot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Max, we will definitely get you rescheduled for part 2 of Max Powers Bigfoot Hunter.
I
And,
can't wait. Hopefully,
I
I'll have other
can't
things to
either.
talk about by then.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be
Oh.
back out in the woods.
Right. So, everybody, go check him out. Go check out Max Powers.
Yep.
Awesome guy. I've been subscribed to him for a very, very long time, and he's out
Like
there.
3 or 4 people have, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. So go check him out. Great guy. We're definitely gonna have him back on part 2. I think we're just scratching the surface,
Mhm.
and just it's what this podcast is all about. You know what I mean? Just
It's what this
Conversation.
job. It's not a job that we do, but whatever it is we do, a hobby,
it's a labor of love.
passion. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
a
like
labor of
you
love.
can't do it and not look into what everyone else is doing. That's all.
You
I'm saying.
can't. You can't. And you know what? I know for a fact that there's a couple of people that are researchers and they don't do it. They don't watch other people's stuff. And it's like you can't be a researcher and not watch other people's stuff. So
Kind of collect it.
yep. You can't discredit it. You gotta collect it,
Mhm.
and
I agree.
Uh,
And you know what? It adds to your, like anything else in life. It adds to your filter.
yeah.
What you catch, all that information that you catch, the more you put in it, the more you're going to catch, the more
Right.
you'll know.
Yep.
Right.
Educate.
Exactly. So everybody, let's go out. Let's catch that frickin' info. Let's catch that in evidence, and let's bring it all out.
And let's
Let's
talk to
share
each
it.
other about it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mean to
That's
interrupt.
Let's work together. as a
Bingo.
team. Work together as a team.
The rest of the world. I don't care if you're an aper.
Work together as a team.
If you're an
Because
aper, if you are a human species, if you are a UFO guy, we're all nuts in the eyes of the rest of the world. So we might as well bond together because at least we got each
all
other.
a little crazy. It's just crazy in different topics. So,
That's all
you
I'm
know what I
saying.
mean? All right, Max. Well, with that being said, everybody have a good night. Stay safe out there.
Thanks, everybody.
And Max, we'll talk.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. See you later. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.